My name is Frank Bailey, and I'm president of Pioneer Nelf. We're a public interest law firm. I want to share with you today some evidence that the city of Boston is penalizing commercial property owners for exercising a basic right, namely appealing their tax assessments to the Appellate Tax Board. Since the pandemic, commercial property values have clearly dropped in value, somewhere between 20 and 35% in our city. For example, 101 Arch Street sold for $78 million when it was assessed by the city at $153.7 million. Yet the city continues to assess many buildings at around 95% of their past value, which is clearly wrong. Commercial owners across the city, under these circumstances, have, of course, filed appeals to the Appellate Tax Board. But we discovered that when they do, the city often imposes an additional charge, one not applied to similar properties that don't appeal. That charge is in the nature of additional assessed value. Having learned this on June 24, 2025, we notified the Commissioner of Revenue of this unfair and unconstitutional practice. We then received no reply, so on July 9, we offered to meet with the Commissioner so that we could provide evidence. By the way, we have also copied the Boston Assessor's Office and the Mayor with our letters, but we have never heard from anyone at City Hall. Finally, on July 18, the Commissioner responded, stating that his office could find no support for our allegations. 2 business days later, he distributed that letter to the press. On that same day, though, July 22nd, we submitted a detailed series of documents to the Commissioner, namely specific property cards and a spreadsheet with over 50 examples of where the city had engaged in this process. The total overassessment on those cards was $402 million, and just on those 50 properties, the additional taxes collected was over $13.5 million. We provided comparative cases where no appeal was filed and no additional penalty was imposed. Let me walk you through one of those property cards. What you're seeing now is a typical property card. It shows, of course, the property's address, the owners. It shows the assessed values on the properties and the taxes to be collected. Now, you can see the city notes on this card, which involves 125 to 145 High Street. We've circled it in red. It says ATB dispute. That means that this property owner took an appeal on that assessment for that year. And above it, you'll see also circled in red other additions, namely $33.5 million in assessed value that was added back to the assessment on this property on which that taxpayer was required to pay taxes. Even the city believed that the property had declined by that amount. Look, the law is clear. Under General Laws, Chapter 59, Section 2A, real estate in Massachusetts must be valued at 100% of its fair cash value, not at more than its fair cash value, such as Boston has done here. Also clear under law is under Chapter 58, Section 1A, the Commissioner must supervise local assessors and enforce fair valuation. We intend to correct this violation of taxpayer rights. It's bad for our city. We urge the city to preserve all relevant tax records, and we welcome outreach from anyone who has direct knowledge of these practices. Thank you very much.